Alright, hey guys, I am back. It is Sunday. So this is going to be my pregnancy week 13 vlog. So today I am 13 weeks and 4 days pregnant. My days switch over on Wednesday, so today is Sunday, and I'll be 14 weeks pregnant on Wednesday. So where to begin? I'm kind of just going to start. I'm going to fill you in from 6 weeks pregnant when I found out I was pregnant up until this point, and I am now 13 weeks pregnant. So the very beginning, first few days, I just kind of felt off. I felt tired and just a little bit icky, but like not full-blown morning sickness or anything like that. Starting around 7 weeks to about 12 weeks, I was completely sick all day, every day, with terrible morning sickness. So if you followed my pregnancy with Coralie, you also know that I had a really bad morning sickness with her, and this time it has been no different. I have been so sick. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't make pregnancy vlogs from 6 weeks to 12 weeks, just because every single video would have probably been just me complaining about how absolutely miserable I was, because I felt terrible. I felt horrendous in the morning, felt horrendous in the afternoon, and I felt horrendous at night. And I was just constantly throwing up multiple times a day, every single day. There for a while, I was throwing up my dinner every single night. No matter what I tried, I was getting sick and throwing everything up, and it was horrible, so bad. I'll wake up in the morning, and the moment that I would sit up in bed, I would have to run to the bathroom to throw up. I was either dry heaving or I was like actually throwing stuff up. So it definitely was not at all a fun time. Very challenging. I didn't want to do anything. There for a while, Thomas pretty much picked up all household chores, kind of took over taking care of the kids in the evening, getting them ready for bed, cooking dinner, doing the cleaning. He did it all because I was just sick and miserable, and I wasn't very fun to be around because I felt terrible. All I wanted to do was lay on the couch. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to go anywhere. It was so bad, and I tried everything. And nothing helped. Nothing. So, luckily I never got sick at school, and I think the reason I felt better on school days. So the days that I did have to work, I felt better than the days that I stayed here. And I think that was for a couple of reasons. My students and how busy I was kind of kept my mind off of how bad I was feeling, so that was one thing. Another thing was I was constantly active. I was up moving around, I wasn't sitting on the couch all day, and I was constantly putting something in my body to eat. That is the only way I felt halfway human, is if I was literally eating something like every single hour. So I would go to school with like this big lunch bag that just had a ton of different snacks. I took grapes and oranges and apples and pretzels and carrots and cucumbers and green peppers and crackers and cheese sticks, cereal bars and granola bars, yogurt. Like, I was constantly eating. And that's the only thing that kind of helped me. Like, every time I would start to feel sick, I would immediately eat something, and that helped a lot. Also, peppermints helped a lot as well. So if I was starting to feel kind of sick, I would put a peppermint in my mouth and it would help a little bit. It didn't make it go away, but it made it bearable. So that's how I survived on school days. And I think the reason why I felt worse when I was at home was just because I wasn't constantly eating all the time like I was while I was at school, because I was so scared I was going to get sick at school that I was just constantly eating something to make sure that I didn't. And then, you know, the days I didn't work, I wasn't getting up as early because I didn't have to get up for work. So I went that longer stretch of time at night without eating anything. So I also think that's why the days I was off, I always felt worse than the days I worked, because I slept a longer period of time, which meant I wasn't eating as frequently as my work days. So totally felt awful. Not good, not good. I had my first prenatal appointment when I was 11 weeks pregnant. Went in, it was kind of a boring appointment. I, you know, had to do the urine sample. They weighed me. I'm starting this pregnancy out 15 pounds heavier than when I started my pregnancy with Coralie. So when I started my pregnancy with her, I was 130 pounds. Starting out this pregnancy, I'm 145 pounds, which is not something that I'm excited about. I'm kind of bummed that I'm so much heavier this time, but I think, you know, there's a couple different reasons for that. I'm older, you know, I'm 3 years older than I was with Coralie. And I also think I really started working out and doing Insanity and doing T25, so I think I've built up some muscle mass that I didn't have before when I was pregnant with her. So I also think that's one of the reasons why I'm a bit heavier. So wasn't excited about that at all, but when I went to my first prenatal appointment at 11 weeks pregnant, I had gained a pound. So I'm 146. And I think another reason why I haven't gained a lot of weight yet is because, like I said, I have been so sick and throwing up everything. They tried to listen to the baby's heartbeat, and they could not find the baby's heartbeat, which really freaked me out because I have had a miscarriage in the past, and you know, they've gone to try to find the heartbeat, and I never found a heartbeat because there wasn't a heartbeat. And that was at 9 weeks with that pregnancy that I miscarried. So I was at 11 weeks and I was like, oh my gosh, you definitely should be able to hear the heartbeat at 11 weeks. But she tried for like 10 minutes, tried to find the heartbeat. She found it for like a split second, but then she couldn't find it again. And you know, I was getting all worked up and worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, like why can't they find it? I'm 11 weeks. But they had an ultrasound machine in the office, so they went ahead and did a super quick ultrasound just so that to put my mind at ease, and we saw the baby wiggling around and moving around, and we saw the heartbeat and we saw it pumping. So but they also found out that my placenta is in the front again. I have an anterior placenta, which I've had with all 3 of my babies. So every single one of my pregnancies, my placenta's been in the front. So when, you know, they were trying to find the heartbeat, they kept hearing my pulse. They were hearing my placenta because it's like right in front. So that's why they were having a really, really hard time finding it. They gave me the concoction for the new morning sickness medication that they're prescribing women now that's supposed to be safe. Starts with a D. I forget what it's called, but it's super, super expensive. So a lot of women just buy the ingredients themselves and take it. So it's just a half a tablet of Unisum and then B6. So she gave me that. She recommended that for morning sickness. So I went out directly after that appointment and went out and bought Unisum and B6. I had already been taking B6 because I heard, you know, it could help, but the B6 by itself wasn't helping at all. So I did start taking the Unisum that night, and for the next 2 days after I started it, I didn't throw up at all. So the next 2 days. So I thought it was like this miracle pill, and I was so excited because I finally wasn't feeling sick anymore. But then on the third day I started throwing up again. So yeah, I know it works for a lot of women and some women it doesn't. I'm still taking it. So while my morning sickness isn't nearly as bad as it was before, I feel like it's a lot more manageable. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm further along in pregnancy or if it's because the Unisum and the B6 are working. So I'm too afraid to not take it. So I am taking it. I feel like it's helped a little bit, but it doesn't take it away at all. And like I said, I'm still throwing up and not feeling the greatest. Now at 13 weeks, I'm throwing up every once in a while, but it's definitely not daily, definitely not multiple times a day like it had been, which is good, but I still have moments where I feel really, really bad. And if I go long periods of time without eating, I just feel terrible. So I'm still having to eat pretty frequently. So that appointment went well. I'm seeing the same group of midwives that I saw with Coralie. I am going to attempt another water birth. My water birth with Coralie was not successful. I made it to 8 centimeters and then was transferred over to the regular labor and delivery to get an epidural. If you haven't seen my labor and delivery video with her, I'll link it below so that you can go watch it. But basically, she was posterior and that really stalled out my labor. So my labor was extremely long and extremely painful. I had really bad back labor. So I caved and got an epidural with her. This time I'm hoping that a water birth will be successful. And I know like both of my babies have been posterior. Both of them. And now with this third pregnancy, my placenta is anterior, so it gives me a greater chance of having another posterior baby. Plus, all my babies have been posterior, so I'm going to be trying my best to get this baby in the correct position before birth. Because I really feel like if I can get it in the correct position, then I will be able to do a natural delivery in the water. I think what kept me from doing it with Coralie was the horrendous back labor and how long it took me to progress. So, and that all had to do with her being posterior. So those are my plans. I had my NT scan at 12 weeks and 5 days, which was really, really fun. Everything looked great. We got to see the baby moving and wiggling around and playing with the umbilical cord and had its little hands up by its face. So that was really, really fun to see. So the lady doing our ultrasound, she was so super sweet and she printed off like a ton of pictures, and we also got a DVD recording of the ultrasound. So if I can edit like my name out, I might try and post it on YouTube, but I don't know if I'll be able to or not. But she got all the measurements she needed so quickly because the baby was being really cooperative that she didn't want our ultrasound DVD to be too boring. So she actually showed us the baby in 4D, which was really cool because I've never had a 4D ultrasound, so that was really fun. So I'm going to show you some pictures from that ultrasound. I'll just show you a couple because I've got a ton here. So that was a lot of fun. I have not gotten back my blood results yet because they tried to call me yesterday, but I missed the phone. They called me 2 days ago, but I missed a phone call. So I have to wait until Tuesday to try to call back and get the results to the blood test that I did. So there's that. Other than that, besides being super, super sick and throwing up, the only other symptoms I've had has been fatigue. Like if I could nap every single day, I would. And I have been napping a lot, especially, you know, the days that I don't work. I usually take at least one nap a day. And my boobs are starting to get kind of heavy and fuller. So besides those two symptoms, that's about it. Feeling sick and bigger boobs. My stomach is definitely growing a little bit. I can still fit into regular clothes, but I found like some of my pants are really getting uncomfortable. So I've basically been living in yoga pants and leggings. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I know I had to cram in so much into such a short amount of time. Oh, I did have a question about what was Thomas's reaction and the kids' reactions to the pregnancy. First of all, I'm going to talk about Thomas and my reaction. We were both very, very shocked. And it took us some time to warm up to the idea because we knew the timing wasn't the greatest. So I wasn't like overly thrilled and super excited like I was with Coralie. I mean, if you want me to be honest, I just truly wasn't. I'm a teacher. I'm due August 10th. That's like right when we start back up school, the beginning of the year. So the beginning of the year is not a time that you want to miss because that's where you lay down your foundation for the whole year. You set your routines, your procedures, your rules, your expectations. All of that groundwork is done in those first few weeks of school. So it's a little scary to me that I'm going to have somebody else in there and then I'm going to have to take over, later. That's scary to me because, I'm not going to be able to build that foundation. So I really wasn't happy about that. I wasn't happy because, when you're trying to conceive, you're supposed to take prenatal and folic acid like 3 months before you start trying to conceive, or at least, a month in advance. And I hadn't been taking any type of vitamin or anything. So that really freaked me out because I'm such a planner. So to have this just happen, it was kind of scary. And that was kind of Thomas's same reaction. He was like, it just kind of stunk that we didn't have it planned out. So the timing wasn't the greatest. Like if I was planning on having a third baby, then I would want to be due like at the very end of the school year. That way I could have like the last 6 weeks off and then summer break. So just the timing isn't the greatest, but other than that, we're excited now, which is the most important thing. We're really excited. And the kids are over the moon excited. So quickly before my card runs out, I'm going to show you a quick belly shot. So here's what I look like with a t-shirt on. So not really a lot to see yet.